What happens when Hollywood's most legendary tough guy walks into the polished, smiling world of daytime television, where hosts believe they control the narrative? What unfolds next is not a movie scene, but a real interview moment that spiraled into one of the most uncomfortable confrontations live TV had seen in years. Clint Eastwood, a man who built his legacy on silence, restraint, and steeled resolve, walked into The View expecting a routine promotional appearance. What he walked into instead was something far more volatile. The cameras rolled live, studio lights glared down, applause erupted as Whoopi Goldberg warmly welcomed the legendary actor. Eastwood nodded politely, settling into his chair with the calm presence of a man who had nothing to prove. His voice was steady, gravelly, unmistakable. The conversation began smoothly. Questions about his latest film, its themes of redemption and second chances, and the truth he still searched for in storytelling after decades in Hollywood. The audience listened closely. The atmosphere felt respectful, professional. But not everyone at the table was there to listen. Joy Behar sat quietly at first, leaning back with a knowing smile, waiting. When she finally spoke, the shift was immediate. Her tone sharpened. The subject drifted away from film and into politics. She referenced Eastwood's past opinions, hinting at controversy and contradiction. The warmth in the room faded. Whoopi sensed it and tried to redirect, but momentum had already shifted. Eastwood didn't raise his voice. He didn't flinch. He simply asked her to clarify. Joy pressed harder, framing implication as accountability. The studio air thickened. Eastwood responded calmly, stating he judged people by character, not party. But Joy wasn't satisfied. She leaned in, enjoying the friction, suggesting his political associations alone sent damaging messages. That's when the interview stopped being an interview. Eastwood leaned back, eyes fixed on her, and reminded everyone, quietly, that he had worked with people from every background long before this table existed. Joy bristled, defending her right to ask tough questions. Eastwood countered just as calmly, saying he had the right not to engage with questions designed for controversy rather than conversation. The word gotcha landed hard, and Joy's composure began to crack. Attempts to steer things back to the film failed. Joy brought up the infamous empty chair moment from years earlier, mocking it, calling it unhinged. The studio went silent. Even the audience stopped breathing. Eastwood leaned forward, his voice dropping to a near whisper, the kind that carried more weight than shouting ever could. He began asking questions of his own. How many films had Joy made? How many stories had she told that changed lives? How many careers had she built? Joy deflected, insisting that entertainment was her accomplishment. Eastwood didn't argue. He simply observed that from where he sat, it looked less like entertainment and more like ambush for ratings television. The tension was now visible. Hosts shifted uncomfortably. Crew members froze. The interview had crossed a line it couldn't return from. When Joy accused Eastwood of glorifying violence and gun culture, the audience audibly gasped. Eastwood studied her for a long moment before speaking again, this time with clarity so sharp it cut through the room. He told her she confused loudness with courage, confrontation with strength, and then he said it plainly. What she was doing wasn't bravery, it was bullying, protected by a microphone and a format that didn't allow guests to fight back. Joy stood up, furious, shouting about her experience and status. Eastwood didn't match her energy. He asked one final, devastating question. How many guests left her show feeling respected? There was no answer. At that moment, Clint Eastwood stood. He removed his microphone. He said he hadn't come to be a punching bag, hadn't come for viral clips, and hadn't come to play political theater. He had come to talk about art, about stories that mattered, and if that couldn't happen, he would leave. Joy insisted he couldn't walk out. Eastwood replied with two words that ended everything. Watch me. Before exiting, he turned to the camera, speaking directly to viewers at home. He explained calmly that what they had just witnessed said far more about the state of television than it did about him. Then he delivered one final line to Joy, reminding her that he had been handling real tough questions long before she ever held a microphone. And then he walked out. The studio was left in stunned silence. Joy sat red-faced and shaking. The other hosts avoided eye contact. The audience didn't clap. The cameras kept rolling, capturing a moment that would soon explode across the internet. What began as a simple interview had become a public unmasking. In the days that followed, clips went viral, debates erupted, but one truth stood above the noise. Eastwood didn't shout. He didn't lose control. He didn't need to. He demonstrated something far rarer on modern television: quiet authority, earned respect, and the power to walk away. At an age when most legends fade into memory, Clint Eastwood reminded everyone watching that real strength doesn't come from cornering someone on live TV. It comes from knowing exactly when to stand up and leave.